If you've spent your life wondering why mindset, strategy, and well-being advice seems to work for everyone except you, this podcast was made for your neurodivergent brain. This is Welcome to Self Unmasked, where we have compassionate conversations for neurodivergent minds. Whether you're autistic, have ADHD, identify as ADHD, or you're simply curious about what neurodivergent well-being actually looks like, this is a space built for you. I'm Dr. Hayley Quinn, author, speaker, coach, and a proud late identified ADHDer with a background as a former PhD qualified clinical psychologist. I bring both the clinical depth and the lived experience to every conversation because real understanding has to come from both. Here we talk about the things that matter, including masking, burnout, self-compassion, people-pleasing, and how to build a life that genuinely works for your neurodivergent brain. Grab your favourite cuppa or put on your walking shoes and join me for bite-sized episodes and great guest episodes too. Hit subscribe so you don't miss one. Confused by conflicting advice about perimenopause and wondering what actually works? Join me and pharmacist, nutritionist and menopause practitioner Sarah Gray for a practical, evidence-based webinar exploring what happens during perimenopause and what you can do to feel your best. Together, we're going to unpack the latest evidence around nutrition, lifestyle, supplements, compassion, and self-care strategies to help you navigate this stage of life with confidence. Join us live via Zoom on Wednesday, the 12th of August, 12 till 1 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Understand what's happening in your body and hear about evidence-based nutrition and supplement strategies. Understand the benefits of compassion and learn about practical lifestyle and self-care strategies. If you've got questions, we've got you covered with a live Q&A. Registrations are essential. You can find the link in the show notes. We look forward to seeing you there. Hi, and welcome back to another episode. How good was that episode with Chris last time? If you haven't already tuned in, I highly recommend you go back and listen to that one. Today, I want to do a bite-sized solo episode, and I want to talk about rest, because this is an area that I see people really struggle with. I think there can be this sense of rest being a particular thing, and I want to kind of clear that up a little bit because there's different types of rest. And when we can see that rest isn't just about sort of having a sleep or a nap or sitting down quietly, we can start to think about the different ways we can incorporate rest into our daily lives. And that's going to be really helpful. So we do have physical rest, and that might be going to sleep, having a nap, or perhaps sitting quietly with a cup of tea. But we also have other types of rest, like creative rest. And that might be for you engaging in something, but doing it purely for the pleasure of it. There doesn't need to be a particular outcome. There's not this kind of stress of the everyday where we're feeling like we have to produce something. We're just doing the activity purely for the pleasure of it. It kind of helps us calm our system, get into the flow of just doing something creative because we enjoy it, and that in itself can feel really restful. We also have things like sensory rest, and it might be that we need to dim the lights or we need to turn the volume down. For me the other day, it was school holidays here, and I had to close the windows because some days I love hearing the kids kind of laughing and screaming and playing. And other times it just feels too much. And there was lots of children outside. I live at the beach and they were having a great time. But for me, it was a day when I needed to turn down the volume on everything. So I closed the doors to shut out the sound. I had the lights on low later that evening. I had the television volume down lower than normal. And I was really aware that I just needed the sensory rest. We have social rest. We might be thinking about the amount of activities we've got booked in with other people, and we might start to decline some invitations. Or maybe you've accepted an invitation and you realize that that's going to be too much, so you can change your mind. It's okay to change your mind. When I said yes to the thing, this is how I was feeling. These were the circumstances I was in. But now we've got to the date of the thing or just prior to the thing. Circumstances might have changed. Your energy levels might have changed. How you're feeling might have changed. And it's okay to change your mind. It might be that you just need some time for yourself. And it's okay to do that. The other type of rest we might be thinking about is resting cognitively, so that we are stepping away perhaps from a challenging task or just a lot of tasks that we've been doing. Or maybe it's time to stop the scroll because that's actually feeling quite burdensome for us. So thinking about the things that you could do to kind of turn things down cognitively, so you're not doing as much thinking. And again, for some of our tricky minds, that can be really difficult. So it might be if your brain is like really busy thinking about loads of things, get it to focus on one thing that actually feels calmer. It might be something like watching the flame on a candle and just letting your mind play with that, rather than getting caught up in a task that you've been thinking about or a problem that you've been trying to solve. We might want to rest emotionally, identify and avoid some of the stresses that are happening in life. And again, that's not always easy, but maybe it's something we can think about. And there might be some things that actually you can step away from and avoid at that moment, because not all avoidance is bad. Sometimes it's really helpful to avoid things and put them off till later, or perhaps put them off and never go back to them. We might want some time in nature or to engage in something like meditation or yoga or whatever your spiritual practice is, and give ourselves some spiritual rest. What we want to do is think about rest as an asset, not as something that's going to get in the way of us doing the things we need to do. Rest is something that's going to help us move forward to do the things we need to do, but we're going to feel better for it. And not only do we need rest in all its forms, and that will be at different times. We don't need rest in all its forms all of the time. It's going to be dependent on what you're doing, how you're feeling, where you are, what's been happening in your life, what sort of season you're in your life. But we need the rest in those forms, but we also need replenishment as well. We need the things that are topping us up, that might feel a bit busier. They might feel a bit more active. And I'll do an episode on that as well at another time. For now, I want to just keep this short. Maybe you can go and give yourself some moments of rest, perhaps choose the type of rest that you would like to focus on today and give yourself some opportunity for that. And then when you've done that, check in with yourself and ask yourself, what was it like to gift myself that? How do I feel now I've done that? And if it's helpful, make some notes about what you did and how you felt so that you can refer back to it later. Or if you're like me, you might like to look at the data and see, well, what actually works the best for me? How can I incorporate this into my life ongoing so that it does become a rest practice as well? I hope you found this helpful. Wishing you all the best for your week ahead. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time. Go well and go gently with yourself. Bye. Thank you for spending this time with me. If today's episode resonated with you, please share it with someone you think will benefit. The more we can reach the neurodivergent people who need these conversations, the better. A rating or review also goes a long way in helping others find this podcast, and I genuinely appreciate every single one. If you'd like to explore working together or stay updated with all that's happening inside Welcome to Self, head to drhayleydquinn.com. The link is in the show notes, and you can also join the mailing list from there. Please note this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional advice. If you need individual support, please reach out to me or another qualified professional. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this episode or what you'd like me to cover next. You can reach me through the website or find me on socials. Go well and go gently with yourself.